It's Jalen and Jacoby.
It's Friday, and he is Jalen Rose applying makeup to his face.
What up, Doe?
I am David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. What is it that we do, Mr. Rose?
We get the people what they want.
Well, the Westbrooks got what they want. Russell Westbrook has signed the biggest deal in the history of the National Basketball Association. Woj telling us that it is a 5-year, $205 million contract extension. That's $41 million a year. Jalen Rose, so Westbrook is going to be there. But will Paul George and Carmelo stay there?
Don't be surprised if they do.
Ooh. Talk to me.
Here's what you have to pay attention to. Carmelo Anthony had a no-trade clause. He also has a year after this season on his contract at about $28 million that you don't just walk away from.
It's a player option, I believe.
So usually, if you're going to waive that in order to come to OKC, you're on the phone with Russ. Like, yo, I need to know, fam, are you going to be there? Because if you make me waive my no-trade clause, I come to OKC and you bounce, you think you had a problem with KD, you're going to have an enemy forever, physically.
Well, Russell signed this deal on Kevin Durant's birthday. Do you think he meant to? Do you think he's that competitive?
Absolutely. And rightfully so. Here's the thing I want to applaud for Russell.
Okay.
He's not going to let down the fans of OKC. When Michael Jordan stood on the stage and said that he was the kind of player that was going to get people to come play with him and not, quote-unquote, chase the chips, I believed it. And knowing Russell the way I do and how he's handled the scenario, regardless to them losing Harden, regardless to KD bouncing, it seems like this move is true to character. And doing it on KD's birthday, after you guys have already acquired Paul George, is only right. We officially have another super team in the league. And it's not in Golden State, and it's not in Cleveland. Oh, man, League Pass is going to be on fire, not only this year, but for years to come.
Moving on, this week has been covered extensively. This FBI investigation that's uncovered all of the corruption, well, some of the corruption, an example of the corruption that's going on in the NCAA in regards to paying families and families paying players and college coaches getting paid, college coaches paying people, players being paid to join agencies. They've uncovered it all with charts and FBI investigations. But, Jalen, it's time that you take us behind the curtain. Who else is involved in all of this? Because we hear about the shoe companies and we hear about the college coaches and we hear about the families of the players, but the corruption is much more layered than that. Take us behind the curtain. Who else is involved?
Since a free market economy does not exist in basketball and or football for that matter, what you're now going to have is different pockets of people and or situations that navigate young athletes on how to get to the money.
Okay.
Because they now see that regardless of how talented you might be in 10th grade, we know you have to finish high school. We know you have to go to college for 1 year. And we know neither one of those situations are allowed to pay you. So based on that, it initially starts with the athlete's talent, family and or friends and or relatives. The extended family becomes your high school coaches and or your AAU coaches.
Okay.
And what shoe companies and or agents, because they're the puppet masters in theory, are now doing is they create different scenarios. So an elite level athlete, usually his school now becomes sponsored by one of those said shoe companies. During the summer, this now player has to make a choice. Which shoe company, Skills Academy, basketball camps and/or appearances they now attend. So in theory, you're being steered. Also, along those lines, who's working you out each summer to allow you to hone your craft?
Oh, that's interesting.
When you see a quarterback's coach that's a guru or a trainer that's working out all of the elite athletes, you know that somebody's paying them, right?
Mm-hmm. They probably wear all the same brand clothing from head to toe.
And you know who's not paying them? The high school athlete and/or the collegiate athlete. So now those relationships become fostered. And all of a sudden, if said shoe company, they were looking after your high school and you were going to their camps, guess what you now end up doing? Going to a college that wears the same shoe. Because when I sign my letter of intent, I'm not just signing the ball out. I'm signing a shoe contract because I can't wear what I want to wear in collegiate basketball or football. You have to wear what the school is contractually obligated to wear. You know why? Because the contract is with the shoe company and the university. It's not with me. But I'm still forced to fall in line and actually do such. And so now I'm in college. Everybody knows I need to be there for a year. This infrastructure that's brought me through. Mm-hmm. I have a college coach. There's assistant coaches. They become my father figures along with the people that I mentioned in the past. And all of a sudden, there's no surprise that, said collegiate coach that has an agent or a manager or a financial advisor, he's doing really well by me. Mm-hmm. So guess what? The player now follows suit and is represented by the same financial advisor who works for the same agent. And of course, don't forget the other people on the sideline, like who's making the clothes? Who do you buy the jewelry from? So this is a never-ending cycle that's going to continue to churn as long as the NCAA exists with the model that treats you like an athlete who is an amateur, which you're not, but you're treated as such because you have to sign on the dotted line to become a scholarship athlete, but also as long as money's involved. I saw what happened with Rick Pitino. Do you actually think Rick Pitino is the only collegiate coach?
The only one in all of college basketball. He is the only coach in all of college basketball that's involved in any of these practices. I really believe that.
So let me tell you some of the rules and some of the things to watch for when you're watching certain squads play and/or in the summer. Watch how the top flight coaches are able to now hire AAU and/or high school coaches and/or family and friends to come work camps in the summer. Mm-hmm. So that you hope that the money that they're being paid, that ain't for them to 100% put in their pocket. It's for them to funnel some to the collegiate athlete. How about the athlete who gets their family members to now work for the school?
Oh, just so happened that there was a job open, and you know what? My dad would be perfect for that job. He'd be perfect for that job. Oh, that seems like a very, very, very good compensation for that position as well.
No question about it. So it's happening in and around the country, and it ain't gonna stop.
You know what?
One-on-one.
It was cool, first of all, to be wanted. I think we all want to be wanted. And it was some good teams that picked up the phone and called and reached out. I appreciated that. But I had to look at where I felt my game would be best. And I looked at this team, I looked at this roster. Once the trade happened, everything, and you kind of the smoke clear, you can kind of look at the roster. You said, man, that team is deep. And I think some of the sexy parts about coming here was Jay Crowder being here. Somebody who I respect on the defensive end of the floor, can knock down shots. JR can knock down shots. So, obviously, Corver, looking at the bench and looking at the guys that really is going to make this team great.
You can catch the full conversation today on The Jump, 3 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Meanwhile, we bring in the Undefeated's Mark Spears. You have a piece out on the Undefeated that says Wade joining the Cavs is the third most interesting move of the offseason, which is saying something with this offseason, Mark. What intrigues you the most about this move?
Well, you know what? I didn't want to see Dwayne Wade play with the Bulls. I don't know anybody outside of Chicago or who's not a Bulls fan who wants to watch the Bulls this season. They're going to be in rebuilding mode. I didn't want to see him to be like Kevin Garnett in the twilight of his career and missed the playoffs the last 2 years, or Kobe Bryant missed the playoffs his last 4 years. Now he's back in a championship situation with his old buddy LeBron James, and it'll be interesting to see how Coach Ty Lue plays this all out. Now they're super loaded at the guard position with Isaiah Thomas and D. Rose and J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver and Calderon and Wade. It's a good problem to have. Some guys might not be too happy with the minutes, but I think Dwayne Wade is certainly happy to be back in a championship position.
Absolutely. All right, so if that's the third most intriguing move, which offseason move for you, Mark, is going to have the biggest impact on this season?
It's got to be Kyrie Irving going for banner 18 in Boston. Look, they already had a big splash with Gordon Hayward. They already had a big splash with Jason Tatum. Then you add one of the best players in the league to Boston, who oddly was traded from their rival, the team they played in the Eastern Conference Finals. Regardless to whether LeBron's there long-term or not, I think Kyrie puts the Celtics in position to be a championship contender for a long, long time. If LeBron is to leave, you got to see Boston as the power in the Eastern Conference. So to me, while everybody was going west, I really like Kyrie Irving's decision to go stay in the Eastern Conference with Boston. And if you're a star in Boston, you win a championship in Boston, you're a part of some special history there. So I think he made a great move for himself. I
tell you what, the offseason move with the biggest impact is a pretty competitive category this year. Unbelievable what's going on in this offseason. Meanwhile, Karl Anthony Towns, he's still there in Minnesota. You have a piece up on the Undefeated on him as well, and you asked the question, could this guy become the best player, the very best player in the NBA? You tried that on Karl Anthony Towns. How do you feel about it?
Man, David, look, I'm trying to put you on some game. Pay attention to this kid. He's been up in Minnesota. Nobody's paid attention to him his first 2 years. Meanwhile, he averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, almost shot 40% from three-point range at 21 years old. And he's 7 feet tall doing all this. Now with Jimmy Butler and also with Andre Wiggins back, this is a big three that's one of the best in the league. Minnesota's going to be on TV a lot.